Welcome to the Euro Summit 2012. This will be our 5th cultural experience tour. Our educational goals are to learn about modern Western history since the post-World War II, to learn about how the Allies and Axis affairs have affected us to this day today, and more importantly, the Holocaust history, learning about the devastating and tragic concentration camps. Our dates are from Thursday, March the 8th to Sunday, March the 18th for 11 days during the March break. Summit Euro past trips include 2008, learning about medieval Europe great powers, 2009, to find the roots of Europe, 2010, rediscovering ancient Europe, 2011, rediscovering the colonial policies between medieval Europe and Latin America, and 2012, we are going to discover post-World II Europe. Our trip will first take us to the capital city of London, England. From there, we get to see the University of Oxford and check out some cool places where Harry Potter movies were filmed. We then take a TGV express train to Paris. From there, an overnight train to Berlin, and then Berlin back to Toronto. Our first trip is London, England. London, England, or England, capital city is London. The population is approximately 51 million. Their politics, of course, are an EU member. They have a parliamentary system like Canada. The most spoken language, of course, is English. It is the fatherland of English, and the currency is the pound. Harry Potter, of course, the famous movie and child book, an adult book, was filmed here, and we get to go to the University of Oxford to see a lot of the locations in which this movie was filmed. Our first stop is the Ashmolean Museum. England's world's first university museum was designed by Charles Cockerell in a classical style. The main museum contains huge collections of archaeology, specimens, and fine art. Next to the Carfax Tower. This was once a church, but now what remains is a tower. On the east facade, the church clock is adorned by 2 quarter boys who hit the bells at every quarter of the hour. Climb 99 steps to the top of the tower to get a bird's eye view of Oxford's dreaming spirals. We then go to Christ Church College. Doesn't this look familiar? That's right, this is from Harry Potter. Christ Church is a unique institution, one of the largest colleges in the University of Oxford in the Cathedral Church of the Diocese of Oxford. It has a famous cathedral choir, scholarly collections of books and art, and 13 prime ministers have graduated from Christ Church College. Merton College. Merton College is one of the constituent colleges of the University of Oxford. Merton is among one of the wealthiest colleges with over £142 million financial endowment. From there, we go to Magdalen College. Regarded as one of the most beautiful of the Oxford and Cambridge colleges, it stands next to the River Cherwell and has within its ground a deer park and Addison Walk. Bodleian Library is on the stop as well. It's the main research library of the University of Oxford. You'll get a chance to go inside and see one of the oldest libraries in Europe. From then on, we go to Windsor Castle. It's a medieval castle and a royal residence in Windsor in the English county of Berkshire, notable for its long association with the British royal family and its architecture. People live and work in Windsor, making it the largest inhabited castle in the world. Eton College. This is the famous college which Winston Churchill has graduated from. Eton College harbors a long, grand history as England's preeminent institution for the education of future princes and prime ministers. We then go to London, the capital city of England. We'll get to check out the famous British Museum. It's one of London's top tourist attractions. The collections here expands massively during the heyday of the British Empire, leading to its museum collection of over 6.5 million objects. Churchill's war rooms and museums are also on our next visit. Take a glimpse into the life of the most famous prime minister named Winston Churchill, the greatest British statesman of the 20th century. Within the Cabinet War Rooms, the museum captures the public and private life and the achievements, and it's divided into 5 chapters in which you can see the hideouts of where the British government hid during the bombing of London. From there, you get to go to Buckingham Palace. It has been the official residence of the British royalty since 1837, the changing of the guard. The mews are working stables where you can see the Queen's horses and state carriages, and if we're lucky, you might get to see the Queen. Westminster Abbey is a large, mainly Gothic church in the city of Westminster. It's located just to the west of the Palace of Westminster, and it's a traditional place of coronation and a burial site of famous English people, including monarchs and of Commonwealth. Royal Observatory Greenwich in London is also a place we're going to visit. It played a major role in the history of astronomy and navigation, and is best known as a location of the Prime Meridian. It's situated in the hill of the Greenwich Park overlooking the River Thames. Imperial War Museum. The museum was founded during the First World War in 1917 and intended as a record of the war effort and sacrifice of the British and their empire. Today, the museum gives its mission to enable people to have an informed understanding of modern war and the impact of individuals and society. Next to the Tower Bridge exhibition. This bridge consists of two towers tied together at the upper level by means of two horizontal walkways. The vertical component of the forces in the suspended sections and the vertical reactions of the two walkways are carried by its two robust towers. Quite a sight to see. We get to walk across it. Next to the Tower of London. It was founded towards the end of 1066 as part of the Norman conquest of England. And the White Tower, which gives the entire castle's name, was built by William the Conqueror. And it was a resented symbol of oppression, but today a grand palace now stands and it serves as royal residence. As a whole, the tower is complex of several buildings set within the two concentric rings of defensive walls and a moat, medieval times. St. Paul Cathedral, first built in 694 but destroyed by the Great Fire in 1666. This beautiful building still stands today and hosts many important occasions, including the funeral of Sir Winston Churchill and the wedding of Prince Charles and Lady Diana. We get to visit and go inside as well. Next to the National Army Museum. The National Army Museum relates the overall history of the British Army, British colonial, imperial, and Commonwealth forces, and the British Indian Army as a whole from 1066 to its current time. Quite a museum to see. Finally, our last stop in London will be the Parliament and Big Ben. Big Ben is a nickname for the great bell of the clock at the north end of the Palace of Westminster in London. It is the largest four-faced chiming clock in the world and the third tallest freestanding clock in the world as well. Next off will be a TGV speed train over to France. France. Capital city is Paris. Approximately 65,800,000. Most people in France are Catholic, and of course they are an EU member with a government parliamentary system. They have it is a presidential republic. The euro, of course, is the main currency, and the language they speak there is French. You get to test your French here. First to the Palace of Versailles. The Palace of Versailles is one of the most beautiful achievements of the 18th century French art. It began as Louis XIII's hunting lodge until Louis XIV changed it in 1862 to house the court and government of France. The Orsay Museum is next. You can see some of Van Gogh's work here. The Gare d'Orsay was a large railway station at first, and over time it was used as a parking lot, a shooting stand, a theater location. Now it's a reception. Once as a reception for prisoners of war, now it eventually became a beautiful museum, which we're going to check. Les Invalides, now a war museum, was built in 1671 under Louis XIV as a shelter for old soldiers. Napoleon's tomb is housed here with the gold-covered dome. Quite a sight to see. Musée Rodin. Auguste Rodin was a preeminent French sculptor of his time and one of the fathers of modern sculpture. Rodin is in an 18th century mansion where the artist once lived, and you get to see over 6,600 sculptures by the artist. Next to the famous Louvre. The Louvre was originally a royal palace, but now one of the largest and most visited museums in the world, housing famous works of art, of course, such as the Mona Lisa and the Venus of Milo. The museum displays a variety of art ranging from European, Roman, Egyptian, Greek, and Oriental. The most recent addition to the Louvre is the glass pyramid, which you can see, which was created by I.M. Pei. More importantly, the Louvre usually takes about 2 months to cover. We will do it in 2 hours. Cathedral Notre Dame. The Cathedral Notre Dame is the head Catholic Archdiocese of Paris. This is where the Archbishop of Paris lives. Notre Dame is widely considered one of the finest examples of French Gothic architecture. More importantly, it's also known for the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Next, we go to Le Concorde. Le Concorde is a 8 hectares, 20 acres area, a largest square in Paris. In 1763, a large statue of Louis XV was erected at the site to celebrate the recovery of the king after serious illness. The guillotine was also used in this square. A guillotine was installed at the center of the square in a time when 1,119 people were beheaded here. Among them, many famous people like King Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette. From there, you know this place. It's called the Arc de Triomphe. The Arc de Triomphe, the most monumental of all triumphal arcs, was built between 1806 and 1836. The Arc de Triomphe stands at the center of the place of Charles de Gaulle. The triumphal arc is in honor of those who fought for France, and particularly those who fought during the Napoleonic War. There are inscriptions in the ground underneath the vault of the arc, which include the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier from World War I, where the memorial flame burns, and we'll get to see that up close. Next to the famous tower, not the CN Tower, the Eiffel Tower. Once the tallest structure in the world, the Eiffel Tower is probably Europe's best known landmark and Paris' most famous symbol. It rises over 300 meters tall. You will get to look underneath it as one of the most popular monuments in the world. From there is Basilique de Sacré-Cœur. The site of the 19th century basilica is traditionally associated with the beheading of the city's patron Saint Denis in the 3rd century. Also here are the statues of France's national saints, Joan of Arc and King Saint Louis XIX. Supposedly there's a legend that Christ's heart is supposedly kept here. Next to the Musée du Petit Palais, this museum is a historic monument situated in the heart of Paris. It presents a stunning collection of artifacts, manuscripts, sculptures, paintings, and more. From France, we'll be taking an overnight train to Germany. Germany's capital city, of course, is Berlin. It has approximately 82,500,000 people. It is, of course, an EU member, and it's a representative democratic republic. 91% of people here speak, and of course, are German, and the national language is German, with the currency being the euro. Germany has a very interesting history, and we're going to be learning a lot about it, especially with World War II. Brandenburger Tor is the first place we're going to visit. Germany's most recognizable symbol, built in 1791, the Brandenburg Gate was modeled on the entrance of the Acropolis in Athens. The statue on top of the gate, the goddess of peace, riding a 4-horse chariot. Next to the Bundeswehr Military History Museum is the Museum of the German Armed Forces. We're going to learn about the major military history, weapons, and tanks, etc. You can see the glass there that cuts right through the museum, which is a representation of how the Allies defeated the Germans during World War II. Checkpoint Charlie, one of the symbols of the Cold War that divided Europe and the world for 4 decades. The Berlin Wall is still the main tourist attraction. However, Checkpoint Charlie is famous because it was the last point you'd have to leave Germany, West Germany, before entering to East Germany. Next, we go to the Sachsen concentration camp. This camp lies 20 minutes north of Berlin. It was used as a central command base for all the concentration camps in Germany and the Nazi-occupied territories during World War II. During this time, it also witnessed the systematic killing of Polish, Czechs, Jews, and homosexuals. Quite significant. We go to the Museum Island. This Museum Island is the name of the northern half of the island across the Spree River in the central part of Berlin. This site of the old city of Cologne is also complex because it has over 7 famous museums which you're going to get to visit as well. The Jewish Museum, one of my favorites, is located in East Germany and is a treat to all fans of architecture. The museum was designed by Daniel Lipskin and is considered to be one of the masterpieces of modern architecture. Next to the Holocaust Memorial, 60 years after World War II, the city of Berlin unveiled its monument to the Jewish victims of the crimes of the Third Reich. An international symbol of German atrocities, this controversial site you'll get to walk through and see, as it's a memorial for all the Jewish people and people who have died due to the Nazis. From there we go to Hitler's bunker. This bunker, it was called the Führer's bunker. It was where Hitler staged his last stand, committing suicide as Soviet troops encircled the bunker. This is a famous location because this is where Hitler was last seen and died. Next, Nieuwe Wasch is a memorial for it will be inside. It will be a mother with her dead son. This sculpture is directly under the oculus, which is exposed to the rain, snow, and cold of the Berlin climate, symbolizing the suffering of civilians during World War II. The Berlin Wall is next, which is the physical division between West Berlin and East Germany. However, it was the symbolic boundary between democracy and communism during the Cold War. The Berlin Wall was erected in the dead of the night and for 28 years kept East Germans from fleeing to the West. Its destruction is complete. However, there are remnants of the wall which we will get to see. Fürstenheim, which is a famous tower located once in East Germany. It's a very important tower at the time because it was the highest tower in Germany, but it has a lot of symbolism. Our trip first starts Thursday, March the 8th. Right after March break, we go straight to Oxford, Windsor. We'll be staying 3 nights. From Windsor to London, we'll be taking a train to Paris, and from Paris we go to Versailles. We take an overnight train to Berlin, and from Berlin, March the 18th, we go back to Toronto. Our educational objectives are very simple. We need to make sure that you understand the historical perspective, the cultural, and the Allies' perspective of World War II and how it's impacted us today. You're going to experience European culture, famous foods that you see here like fish and chips in England, famous landmarks. Do you remember these landmarks? I just said it in the presentation. Also, you'll be learning the importance of the EU and the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, which is a security organization built after World War II. From the Global Village, you'll also learn the importance of post-World War II and how it affects us as South Koreans, more importantly in Canada, and the role of England, France, and Germany in the European Union. Our educational plan, of course, is 5 weeks prior to the trip. We'll be meeting to build some background and learn about these 3 countries, the politics, the economy, religion, and language, plus customs and traditions. During the trip, you're going to have a hands-on experience in which you get to apply your knowledge through experience, daily missions, and daily journals. Your favorite? Once we get back 2 weeks after the trip, we'll be getting back together to summarize and reflect and share our pictures about this great momentous trip. So remember, the world is a book. And those who do not travel read only a page. I hope to see you at Summit 2012 Euro 5th Cultural Experience Tour. I look forward to be traveling with you.